So it's really great to have you guys on the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Now, I know who you are, so why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'll go first. Thank you, Susan, for having us today. I'm Daniela. I'm from Italy. I live and work in Italy. I've been working in hospitality for more than 10 years as a bartender before, as a waitress also. And then I moved in the industry. So started to work for a multinational company in the spirit industry. And then after what we know was the worst time of our life in the last 2 years, I decided to move and start to work on my own. So now I am in a small company and work with small new spirits, brand spirits in the market. And that's why I have the pleasure to work with Chris on Cordusio.
Thank you very
And
much.
Chris?
Yeah. So hello, my name is Chris Tanca. I also live and work in Italy, but originally I'm from the USA. I'm founder of Cordusio, a new red berry aperitif, which is soon to come to market. Big pleasure to be with you, Susan. We're fans.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, of course, we have to go way, way back. I guess let's start with Chris. So, tell me about how Cordusio was born.
How was Cordusio born? Oh, my goodness. Where to begin the story? Let's start in the very beginning. When I was young and didn't have a tremendous amount of money because I was a student, I was a poor student. I scrounged and saved up enough money to do a little bit of traveling. So one of the places I was fortunate to travel to was Italy. And this is over 20 years ago now, but it kind of started a lifelong love affair with traveling and especially with Italy. So this is going way, way back. But one of the things that left such an amazing impression on me when I arrived in Italy was ordering a coffee. And that sounds very silly to most people around the world because ordering a coffee is something we all do every day, multiple times a day if you're me. But I was in Napoli and I was with a friend and we went to a coffee shop and ordered our coffee, feeling very nervous about our, improper Italian and just unfamiliar environment, and ordered the coffee. And the barista said, "Here's your coffee." And I said, "Thank you so much." And I went to go give her my money, and she said, "No, this is paid for. This is in sospeso, in suspension." So somebody before me had paid for that coffee. And then she said, "But you have the opportunity to pay for this coffee anyway and keep it in suspension and pay for the one next after you." And for me, I thought this was the most amazing, brilliant, beautiful, small act of generosity. And it was so charming, and it still left an impression on me now for many, many years. And let's call it fast forward to around 4 years ago when I got the chance to move to Italy and really experience Italian culture and the history and the beautiful art and living in Milan. These small little stories and these small little acts of Italian generosity left an impression on me. And of course, great aperitifs also leave an impression on you when you have the good fortune to live in Italy. So I took a lot of inspiration from the culture and these small, everyday little acts of generosity when we were putting together the concept for Cordusio.
Your last name seems to be Italian, is it? Are you from an Italian background?
Yes, I have an Italian background. On my mother's side, I would say I'm a quarter Italian, approximately a quarter Italian. So I've always been fascinated with Italy. Let's call it from a family background and heritage perspective. But it's interesting. I mean, when you live in Italy, you kind of see it from the outside in, but then you're learning it from the inside out. So it's a wonderful experience. And of course, who doesn't love the food and great culture in Italy?
Well, why I asked that is I was wondering if you had, what kind of coffee you had when you were young or spirits, what was around the table when you were young.
Yeah, good question. I'm saying with a big smile on my face to all my American friends. American coffees when I was growing up many, many years ago is absolutely undrinkable. I mean, Susan, you may remember. I mean, this is way back. So I think maybe that led, maybe when I did get to Italy and I tasted some really great Italian espresso, I was like, wow, this is an unbelievable experience.
Uh-huh.
Regarding spirits, actually, it's funny. I mean, again, Susan, you may connect with this, but I mean, Americans have a much more sweet profile for spirits. Um, and one of the nice things I love so much about Italian spirits, but really Italian cuisine, is the really nice balance between sweet and bitter. Uh, and a lot of the aperitifs that, let's say, we all grew up with, I think they skewed a bit towards bitter. Some of them are getting experimenting with sweet a little bit now, but a lot of it is bitter on bitter. And for Americans and many around the world, it's a lot of bitter. So actually, when we were crafting Cordusio, working with the master blenders, we wanted to find that beautiful balance of a little bit sweet, but not too sweet, and a little bit of bitter, not too bitter.
Back to your story. You said you moved over here. What was it, or should I say, what was it that brought you over? I was going to say, was it love that brought you over? But then I thought that was too cliched. But
No, that's perfect. I love the cliche, and it's so true. No, I've been living abroad for 20 years. So I've had the good fortune I've lived in Scandinavia for 6 years. I've lived in Greece for 6 years. I've lived in Dubai for 2.5 years. And now I've been here in Italy for the past 4 years, plus minus. But of course it was love. Of course it was love that brought me to Italy.
That's what we do.
It's the best reason.
yeah. You know what? I guess love takes very many forms, and love always brings me back to Italy. And it's not one person, it's just the love of Italy. Now, since we're talking so much about Italy, Daniela,
Hello.
what is your background? And, you obviously grew up in Italy. You already had the Italian kitchen, right? Every day. But so what was it that brought you into the spirit world, as we say?
Actually, I'm just saying that maybe I grew up around spirits because my dad used to do wine, and so we used to make wine at home. And also, my mom still does this amazing limoncello that we drink every time we finish to eat. So it's something that it's always been in our culture, of course. I never had any spirits before being an adult. So let's say that I was not drinking before I became 18 years old, because my dad was really like classic Italian dad from the South. No, alcohol is not good. You're not going to try just when you are with me, just when you're in front of me. It's okay. So when I grew up, I was 18. I started to have beer, of course, was the easiest thing. And then my first alcoholic drink was a Midori sour. Sorry. Of course. Something really like the classic drink that you imagine when you think about spirits, like this funny cocktail with melone and these kind of things. And then I finally met Negroni. So when I had my Negroni, I was like, yeah, that's it. I want to know more. I was in Milano. I was at the Nottingham Forest, and I fell in love with this word. So I started to work in hospitality, also to pay my studies. I was studying in Milano, and that's how it started, and it never ended.
Listen, we are not snobs here at Lush Life. A Midori Sour is equally as good as a Negroni. Maybe some would think maybe less sophisticated, but equally as good. We love a Midori Sour. Now,
is the American taste not so similar to the Italian? So Negroni for me is maybe much more better, but nothing to say about Midori Sour. I had great time with everybody.
me too. A fuzzy navel was my cocktail that I started drinking when I was like 21. So I totally understand. Now, I'm not sure. This is kind of a chicken and egg situation here. I'm not sure how you two got together, if it was before you started the spirit, was it after you started Cordusio? Talk me through that timeline of how you got together and started working together, and how that fit into the creating of the spirit itself.
I can try.
Yeah.
Okay. Daniela is the yin to my yang. We kicked off Cordusio development working with some really, really amazing master blenders here in Italy. We have some of the world's best master blenders. So I kind of had an idea as a founder. I kind of had a vision for where I wanted to go in terms of the product, the taste profile, the packaging, and a little bit about...
just one thing before you started that. you didn't tell me why you wanted to start it first.
Well, I wanted to start Cordusio.
Yes.
Well, this came a little bit, two things happening simultaneously. Number one, I finally got behind the bar and started getting a little bit more, let's say, educating myself more properly about creating cocktails. So went to bartender training sessions and WSET as well, and certified with spirits, etc.
Just for fun?
Just for fun. Daniela and I were joking. I mean, when we go to a party, sometimes it's more fun for us to work at the party than to attend the party. So for us, it's actually fun to be behind the bar, serving people, etc. So just for fun, I wanted to get sharper with my skills. And yeah, it was in my training actually that I was behind the bar. I had a couple of ideas about cocktails I wanted to try making. Specifically flavor profiles that I wanted to work with. And I wanted them to be super premium. I wanted them to be 100% natural. I wanted them to be sustainable. I wanted them to be really, something very beautiful. And red berry was something that, let's say, as an American, but I think a lot of Europeans all around the world, it's such a beautiful flavor profile. I was looking for a super premium red berry flavor profile. And I couldn't find it. Now, at the same time, I had some family visiting from the States and actually a couple of friends from the UK as well. And of course, I'm so happy to host folks and show them around Milan and show them all the beautiful things, all things Italian. And of course, we take them for aperitifs. And then one day, someone was saying to me, these are all delicious drinks, but how come there are all these bright colors, these bright oranges and reds, and and the unfortunate reality is a lot of the aperitifs still have some artificial flavors and artificial colors in them. So kind of these things are all happening at the same time. I was looking for a flavor profile unique. I was looking for something natural, and I wanted to kind of play in this aperitif space. Really, when my guests came, I wanted to offer them something as electric and beautiful as was my first real coffee experience in Napoli. And so got a chance to start developing the project, and then in comes this young lady. Daniela has been an amazing piece of the puzzle, really understanding the Italian hospitality industry, etc. So maybe I pass to Daniela because she actually complements the project brilliantly.
So he came to you with this idea. I think I want to make a spirit, this bright red and sustainable, natural, etc.
Absolutely presented to me the whole idea. And when we arrived at the liquid testing, I was just amazed by everything. Like I saw the bottle, I tasted the liquid, and I was immediately in love with Cordusio. It's very something unique. I've been working, I told you already, for more than 10 years in this industry, never tasted something like Cordusio. And this is something weird for me because we get to taste product every day. We get to taste cocktail every day. And this profile was not there yet until Cordusio arrived. So I'm really happy.
Wait, rewind for a sec. So after you decided you wanted to make something in this space, how did you even begin? There's a lot of spirits out there. What were your next steps? We want everything here, Chris. You cannot fast forward on Lush Life.
Where to begin? Well, I'll be a little bit silly, but you begin with an idea. Okay. I knew that there was a space here. I knew that there was an opportunity space. My background is in strategy, marketing, media, and advertising. So I'm kind of trained to identify an opportunity space. So I knew there was a space. Then I literally started writing down the concepts, the ideas. And then what do you say? Then what's the expression? Picture's worth 1,000 words. Then I turned it into a picture. But here's what people don't know. A prototype is worth 1,000 pictures. So then you turn the pictures into a prototype. And then finally, with a lot of patience, hard work, and support from the team, we get to a final product. This is what we're very excited about. Now, that's the silly way that you actually create. the other reality is, and being very humble, I couldn't have done this with tremendous amount of support from the team and without some great mentors. So I'm very fortunate. I have a couple of great mentors who really work in luxury spirits, who have shown the way for ourselves, for the team, to get things off the ground, introduce us to the right players, introduce me to Daniela even, to get things moving.
So from the idea, how long was it between idea and actually having liquid that you thought was going to work?
Oh, good question. I think we did ultimately over a dozen iteration rounds of developing, and I'd say it probably could have been quicker, except for that small pandemic that we had. So, but no, actually, but to be respectful to the master blenders and to really the entire process, I mean, these guys are real craftsmen. I mean, they're experts, and it takes some time. It takes some time to work with the ingredients that they're familiar with, but also, I mean, I introduced an entire new flavor profile. I mean, red berries in an aperitif hadn't been done before. So the blenders took some iterations to really find that right balance in the craft. So I think, if I'm practical, I think it took from idea to actually the right liquid, I'm going to say plus minus a year. And
it's not too long.
It's not too long. No, but at the same time, it was a pretty intense working session. I mean, really had a lot of support. I mean, day in, day out.
And can you reveal some of the red berries that were, that you thought of when you were creating it, or the balance also of, sugar to bitterness that you wanted?
Sure, I'm happy to. So
as much as you want to reveal.
We're actually very transparent, frankly. I mean, we're big focused on sustainability, and sustainability is a lot about transparency. So actually, almost all our ingredients are transparent. So the red berry blend it's actually proprietary, but it's effectively a blend of I'm going to try to do this in English: raspberries, red currants, berries, let's call them blueberries, but not the blue type, and cranberry. And this adds a really interesting blend of a little bit naturally sweet, but also naturally tart. And again, this is all played upon a base of an Italian style aperitif. So it naturally has a slight bitterness, but really finding the right blend of that sweet and tartness together with the persistence of the bitter was what took a lot of hard work. In terms of sugar, that's an actually interesting part of the story, is we use 22% less sugar than most of the other aperitifs. We don't need that much sugar because red berries by nature, I mean, literally are a little bit sweet. So they really play nicely with the aperitif base.
Of course. And since you brought up that you were originally from marketing, did you already have, say, a name and the look of the bottle and all of that idea? Did you work together to do that? How did you decide on Cordusio?
Yeah. Well, we knew we wanted it to be authentically Italian, and I'm very, very pleased. So even the bottle design, everything was done in Italy by Italian designers, agencies, etc. The name Cordusio itself, Cordusio is a piazza. It's a square in the center of Milan. Has a beautiful history. We believe also has a beautiful future. The history of Cordusio is it actually used to be a very central marketplace where people would come to sell, trade, hundreds of years ago even. So a lot of those great master blenders and distillers from all across Italy, they used to come to Milan to this piazza in the center of the city to sell their
herbs and
botanicals,
spices,
their aperitifs, etc., etc. So the history is rich. We love the name. Cordusio. It just plays well in just about every language, and also it has a beautiful future. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things going on in the center of Milan right now. We've seen some really interesting developments lately, and we can see that there's a lot more coming. 5-star hotels opening in the region. Just beautiful cocktail bars. Beautiful cocktails are on the horizon, Susan.
See,
I'm sure. Now we talked about the bottle. I have it here. Let me reach in and get it.
Perfect.
for the video people who can see this, but it's such a gorgeous bottle. Kind of talk me through the design. I know when we met and you had that gorgeous lunch that you had the designer of the bottle there. Can you give us a brief kind of rundown on what he told us and how he created it and what your directions to him were?
Well, my directions were pretty broad. I mean, I wanted him and the designers to really find their authentic voice within the bottle. But you can see, obviously, we're playing on our beautiful Italian design background, right? We're definitely in the super and ultra premium space. There's a couple of small things that are, let's call it details, but let's say one of the things that jumps out for sure is the color red, right?
Of course.
The liquid itself is a red, exactly. But the bottle itself, the bottle glass is tinted red. And that's not only for design, but it's also it actually protects the integrity of the 100% natural liquid. So it protects the liquid from direct sunlight, for example. So we wanted to play with, again, something truly authentic Italian. The ribs and the way that the bottle comes up, it's reminiscent of Chianti bottles, so the straw base that you would use. And then we also have little hints of brushed bronze, for example, you see on the neck label and on the closure.
Yeah.
Brushed bronze is a very let's call it you see it a lot now in kind of Italian luxury home furnishing, but actually it has a long heritage. Kind of pre-war Milano, they were producing a lot of this brushed bronze in the region. So it really draws from a lot of authentic Italian design inspirations.
And don't forget the top. I see a building.
See, it's the Arco. It's one of the beautiful landmarks that you'll see really throughout Italy, but this one in particular in Milan. And we talk a lot about generosity when we talk about the project. So that the top says, l'aperitivo.
Yeah. And also, we used to be this arc that is in Milano, one of the entrance in the city of Milano. So this is our way to say, welcome to Cordusio world.
Welcome to Italy. It's also the gateway to the rest of the world. Yeah. So here we go.
It's a way to come in.
I love it. Every time you open it, you think, welcome to Italy. I love that.
It's the gateway.
It's the gateway. So now tell me a little bit about what you're doing, Daniela, with it. We've heard from Chris, so let's hear from you. So he brought you the bottle and the liquid and you went, wow, this is fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. And I started to think about all the bars that I've been in my life, all the places that I just thought, oh, this product will work amazing. And that's why we started to work together. Also because in our idea is to bring this product everywhere, not just in Italy, of course. And the way is to imagine what kind of place will use Cordusio. And of course, Chris was mentioning the premium of the bottle, and that's also how we imagine. And not just because it's a premium place, needs to be a premium space, needs to be a premium drink place. So somewhere where people are really in love with drinks, really in love with what they do. And we think that they can work with this product and they can enjoy a different way of mixology and mixing drinks and creating something that it doesn't exist yet.
Now, did you have any specific bar in mind? Like, oh, I really want it in this one place.
Well, of course, if I have to think around the world, of course, I'm seeing already the bottle. It's not just a thought for me. It's already there. We just have to adjust a couple of things and then we're ready to go. Of course, we are in the industry, so we know that there is this list of amazing bars on the world. It's 50, it's 500 bars. And those are on the list because we know what kind of mixology they're doing in there, that they are focused on the better way to drink. It's not just about a classic cocktail that you drink and then that's it. It's about giving of course, I'm going to say giving an experience. That's the word that we heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a story. As you know, it's the drink is just much more than just a cocktail.
Exactly. or you say, I mean, I'm Italian, so we just saw also the Italian list of bars around the world, and we saw how many Italians are running these bars. And I'm more than happy to say that one day they will be happy to work with Cordusio. I'm sure about it.
I'm sure. I wasn't sure if maybe there was some in Milano that you thought, oh, because it's my hometown,
Well,
I'd really
so,
love.
we already are working with some bars in Milano. They tasted the product. Actually, we did also, let's say, a blind tasting with some bartenders in the world and also in Milano. We took a panel of 5 bartenders and we did a blind tasting of Cordusio with some other products. And it's funny to say that they choose Cordusio over all the other products that they used to work with every day. So this is already something that for us was really nice to see. Yes, so we are working with some bars. We are organizing some events around the city. In December, we will have our aperitivo to say hello to our Milanese friends. So yes, I saw this product around the city in a lot of places. I don't know if you want me to mention some names. Let me know if you
Yes,
want.
absolutely. Of course.
So, of course, we are already working with Bella Milano Bistro. Is in Milano in Porta Romana. And Umberto, the bartender, is been really helpful with us. He loves the product and is very happy to work with it. So we are organizing an event with him and Bella Milano Bistro team in December, so next month. And then we are in other different spaces, but for example, I can mention Torre Restaurant. Is the restaurant that is on the top of Fondazione Prada, which I think that you might know. So we are working with the bartenders there, and this is an amazing space with this bottle shelf that is beautiful, full of different bottles, different colors, and Cordusio is there. So very happy that we are trying to manage these kind of things and work with other bartenders.
And Susan, when we met, we had a couple cocktails at Il Palazzo Experimental in Venice, and that was an amazing experience. You can still have Cordusio there. Lorenzo and the team there are unstoppable. They're just amazing. So, I mean, we're just getting going. But Daniela mentioned one thing, and Susan, you experienced it, and I think one of the most fun things for us is doing blind taste testing, right? And because I would say almost every time, I'm thinking like 99% of the time in a blind taste test, Cordusio comes out on top. And that's something we get very excited because selling in and showing and let's call it getting people excited about something new that they can play with and experiment with and, experience broadly. It's kind of easy for us. And we really enjoy that.
You can't beat that. I mean, it's fantastic. That's, you dream about that, about getting everyone who's doing a blind taste test to pick your product, right?
Blind
Now,
tasting.
Absolutely. Now, since you mentioned Venice, you are a participant in Venice Cocktail Week. Can you tell me how that came about and your experience there?
Well, I'm happy to. I'll have it kick off. Daniela will fill in. No, but Venice Cocktail Week was wonderful. I mean, this past September/October was the second, and it's an amazing experience. The organizers were wonderful. We worked very, very closely with them. They're very accommodating, and for us, it was a premiere. So we didn't even properly launch yet. I mean, it was kind of a let's float it out there and see what the cocktail community has to say. And we were blown away. We were really, really, humbled by the positive feedback that we got. Great event, great experience. We'll be back for sure. What can I say? I mean, it's just so nice to see, in Italy, again, a country so rich with hospitality traditions and cocktail traditions that are starting to organize a little bit more structured way and bringing really beautiful international focus to the craftsmanship.
And also we played it in Venice because of course we organized 2 different events. One was a lunch, so during lunchtime paired with some amazing food, and the other one was an aperitivo. And that's how for us it's perfect because we actually saw how this product can work every time of the day. Like you can have a nice Cordusio and tonic while you're having lunch, brunch, and then you go to the aperitivo time. You can have this amazing cocktail. You will never stop to drink Cordusio.
But drink responsibly.
Yes.
And now, since I was lucky enough to be at both events, the lunch, you tell us about how you got to work with that fabulous bartender. I'll let you tell the story to create that special
Daniela can
cocktail
tell
for lunch.
Daniela can tell the story.
Well, for us, it was we arrived at Venice Cocktail Week not knowing exactly what we would organize, because of course there was a lot of events around the city. We are a new product, and Chris was saying we didn't even launch it yet. So Cordusio was still an idea for a lot of people. There was nothing about Cordusio. We were lucky enough to find experimental bar and experimental team, Lorenzo and his team. They were amazing. They just get the brand. Like we presented the bottle, and they started to give us a lot of ideas. Like they just understand how this product was going to work, and they gave us the idea about the lunch menu. So they put us in contact with the chef there, and we started to work at this amazing menu that I'm sure you tasted. And then, of course, we also wanted to show Cordusio where he belongs. So during the nightlife, the aperitivo. So Lorenzo was working with this list of cocktail. We gave to him a couple of tips about how we wanted to see Cordusio. And of course, we have this Cordusio and tonic as one of our best proposals, let's say, proposition to drink. And Cordusio and tonic was one of our drink. And then he proposed to us a lot of different ideas. And one of the drinks that you tasted during that night was made by Martina Bonci. She's the head bartender of Gucci Bar Osteria in Florence. So you see a lot of new bartenders that I really appreciate, and they are doing an amazing job. And they gave to us beautiful ideas about cocktail and how to serve Cordusio.
Yeah, Martina was also unbelievable. I mean, she took the bottle, she had a little taste. You know, you can see the wheels turning, and it's like 5 seconds. She turns around and whips up something that's just unbelievable. It's actually
a nice story.
I mean, it's
a fun
it's
story about the
unbelievable.
name also.
Yeah, exactly. She made a cocktail called. And I said, "What do you want to call this?" And she said, "It's only the first time." Like, as in, it was only the first time that she tried it. And I said, "The first time. I love it. That's the perfect cocktail name. That's going on the drink strategy menu for sure." That was the one that sold out very quickly at our aperitivo. But it's really inspiring. I mean, Susan, you got a chance to taste some of the stuff, but there's just so much, great bartender, craftsmen and craftswomen can do with this. It's really fun to see.
I feel like that's kind of the perfect place to stop, because it's like right now, this interview, this is only the first time that you're hearing about Cordusio. There will be so many more times that people will be hearing about Cordusio, because let me tell you, those drinks were amazing. Both what Martina made and what Lorenzo, I love those guys there. I mean, that event, every cocktail was just as good as the next one. It was really fantastic. And I wish you guys so much luck with it. I don't think that you're going to need my luck, because it's a really great product and a great start. And I was so lucky to be introduced to it in one of my favorite cities in Italy.
Oh, thank you so much.
So,
it means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yes, no, of course. Now, I always end asking 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that not everyone can get Cordusio now, but once they have the bottle in their hands, can you give kind of a top tip for the home bartender who's playing with it, both with Cordusio or any tip for any cocktail that you think you found along the way with making cocktails?
I think we're going to say the same thing.
Yes.
We're going to say the same word in 3, 2, 1.
Ice.
It's so funny. Everyone says ice. Everyone says
Right.
ice.
Ice.
the most important thing.
And it's the thing everyone always forgets.
See.
For the home bartender, it's critical.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, with Cordusio, say they just bought their bottle. What would you think? Like the first cocktail that they make at home? Obviously, it's really tough to make a Lorenzo cocktail, a Martina cocktail at home. But what would you think? How would you start playing with it?
Yeah, I'll say with our Cordusio and tonic, it's so nice and easy and works for everyone. So you just take one part of Cordusio, fill the glass with ice, and then top up with tonic water. And then you use a small raspberry on the top. I know that you always suggest. It's there.
It's one of this. It's such a simple cocktail, but it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
And even when you talk to really great, sophisticated bartenders, once you have a sip of a Cordusio tonic, you're like, wow,
yeah,
that's wonderful. So it doesn't have to be complicated.
And if we may suggest something else, if you don't have tonic water at home, just Cordusio shaker apple. That's it. Just with good ice, of course, and you can make your Cordusio shakerato.
Oh, wait, okay. For those people who may not know what shakerato means,
of course,
what does that mean?
It means that you use one part of Cordusio, a lot of ice, put everything in your shaker, just shake really hard, and then it's in a cold coupette, in a cold glass, you serve it. Nothing else. You really don't need nothing else. Even if you have like a lemon peel on top, you can squeeze it, but that's it.
That's so simple and so delicious. Now, last question. If you could be anywhere drinking anything right now, what would that be and where would you be? Why don't we start with the lady, Daniela?
Well, it's a really nice question because, of course, I would love to go everywhere and drink in all the bars that I know and that I've been working with. But I used to live in Australia, Susan. So I used to live there in 2017. And now that I'm seeing a lot of different new bars, this new era of drink in Australia, led by an Italian, because I'm seeing that maybe Frank guys are doing an amazing work with maybe Sammy also, and Dean and Nancy. So I would love to go there and see, because I used to work with maybe Frank team, and it was just like a pizza place, I have to say. Of course, great cocktail, but it was not well known for pizza. And now they are around the world, and I would love to go there and say hi to Stefano and his team and work and drink with them.
Of course, now Chris.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. I want to think about going back to Tokyo or back to New York, but I'm going to be romantic and sentimental because I met my beautiful girlfriend, my beautiful Italian girlfriend, at a beach bar in Mykonos, Jackie O. So I'm going to go right back to Jackie O, where I literally fell in love and changed the course of my life. So I'll go back to Mykonos.
Yes, if it weren't for that drink, we might not be talking right here, right now.
Indeed.
All of us. So.
Let's put that to the side.
All right. We won't talk about that. Well, thank you guys so much. I wish you the best luck. You don't need it. You've got a great team and great spirit, both spirit inside and spirit liquid.
Thank you so much, Susan. If anybody listening or watching would like to learn more, probably easiest place to get us is on Instagram at Cordusio Spirits. Our website, www.cordusiospirits.com.
Yeah.
We're on LinkedIn as well. Reach out. Even if we're not distributed in your country yet, we're coming. Reach out. We'll find a way. We'll
All right. Definitely. I'll have the links in wherever. I'll have them on my post on alushlifemanual.com and also down below YouTube if you're watching. So thank you both so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susan.